I'm super excited about a new set based on the Ninjago franchise. This is something that LEGO came up with themselves. LEGO, of course, is known to use other intellectual property, like, for instance, Star Wars or the Avengers, and make very successful sets. And The Hobbit, we've got Lord of the Rings sets, like the recent Rivendell set, which is absolutely stunning. But with Ninjago, they created their own IP. When the Ninjago Lego movie came out, they introduced a very cool set, which was this big tower building, but made of all these typical Ninjago type of situations. Very detailed sets, a lot of fun to build. I actually have that first city set, and I've got the city garden set. There's also a harbor set, which is now unfortunately unavailable, so you can only get those secondhand. And they have just introduced a new set, which is maybe the coolest one so far, because it's called City Markets. And it consists of two buildings, and in the middle of these two buildings there's a river with a nice Japanese curved bridge that your minifigures can walk on. And then these two buildings are also connected with something that I've never seen in LEGO, and that is a ski lift. It looks like a ski lift, but in this case it connects the lower part of the city to the higher part of the building on the left. And it moves. And it makes the set all of a sudden much more than just a building. It's almost like a little Ninjago world in itself. The set consists of 6,163 pieces. That is quite a considerable piece count. But the price is actually surprisingly low. And if I say low, it's still very expensive. But it's a lot cheaper than previous sets. It's $369.99, and that's both in dollars and in euros. So there's parity, even though there's still a difference between euros and dollars. But anyway, that makes a piece price per piece of only 6 cents, which is quite something. So if I scroll around and I look at all the details, the first thing that strikes me is how colorful it is. This is why I actually have two other city sets of Lego Ninjago. I love colors, and I love all the tiny funny details. These are so much fun to build. And it's a modular building, so both buildings on the left and on the right, you can take them apart and you can look inside. They actually have little rooms and details that are hidden on the inside. So it's not only a set that it's fun to see from the outside, but it's also fun to explore all the little mini stories that they've created on the inside. What I also really like is it has that river. That is especially in the back, you can connect this to the other sets. That's one of the cool things about Lego modular buildings, is they interconnect, and you can put them in various configurations and create your own version of the Ninjago city. If you look closer at the ski lift, you can see that it can even hold minifigures, and there is a cable transmission, and I suppose it has a lever, so you can move that cable train back and forth, and I'm sure that very soon people will find ways to motorize this, so you don't have to do it by hand. The individual parts of the building are also very cool. They're vibrant green colors in some of them. There's a little mini scene of a bakery where someone is baking cakes or bread or pizza, maybe even. There is a pool table, like a miniature pool table. I always love how they use just a few elements, a few blocks to immediately convey what you're looking at. And so I don't think I've ever seen a pool table in Lego. There is also the inclusion of a disabled person, someone who's in a wheelchair, and you've got a wheelchair lift. And this is part of the effort of this Danish company to make sure that Lego is more inclusive and that kids who are, for instance, in a wheelchair or have another handicap that they struggle with, that they feel represented. Why should the Lego world only consist of healthy, strong, regular white kids? The world is very diverse, and so I applaud it that Lego is making a good effort to introduce minifigures that actually are like like people in the real world. You see that even with Barbie toys nowadays, that there used to be only one type of Barbie and one type of Ken, and now you see that they too are diversifying, just to make sure that kids can play with the toys that represent them and their world as well. There are lots and lots of tiny details that I love, but what makes this set for me the most appealing is just the overall visuals, the balance of the construction, the combination of colors. It's never garish. It's very loud and very colorful, but at the same time there's a certain harmony in this build, and it's interesting to look at. I can stare at these builds for hours and hours. Or also, with this set, you get a ton of minifigures, most of which, of course, are featured in the series, in the animated series of Ninjago. The box artwork is amazing, as always. And the boxes themselves are collector's items. They're so beautiful. And Lego also shows usually a few very, very beautifully made photos of kids building the set, and they even show you the set and what it looks like if you would place it on display on a bookshelf or something like that. So all in all, very impressive set. And even though I already have a few Ninjago sets that I still need to build, this one is now on top of my Lego wish list.